Hey, welcome to another episode of the Sacred Profane podcast. I'm your hostess, Neftara Grace. Gentle reminder, this is an adult conversation, mature audiences only. That means if you are not 18 years old in this conversation, it's not for you. By the way, it's my birthday. Yeah, I decided to do this week's episode on my birthday because why the hell not? And I'm glad I did because we're gonna chop it up about whatever the hell I feel like talking with the divine about. This is gonna be good. Berkana for birth, Isa for cosmic coherence, Thurisaz for protection, and hmm, interesting, Inguz for hmm, like a fated marriage, a fated mate. That's been coming through in my private conversations. I love it. Okay, great. So something But this is a divinely timed, something that's been protected. It's a divine intervention of some sort, but it's new. hmm Yeah, interesting. I love these. Anyway, I love runes. But, let's see, we've got the housekeeping out of the way. What's the conversation? This conversation is actually a next level conversation. So, yeah, that's about the warning I'm going to give you. Oh yeah, every episode is a trigger warning, that one. But there's how we're gonna jump in is with a simple question. What is your test for determining whether or not something is real? What is your test for determining whether or not something is real? And I ask because, see, I was born in 1980. And when I grew up in a world where I was told what was real. I had to grow up and determine my own litmus test for reality. Like, is this real or is this not real? So, how do you distinguish? We find ourselves in a space and time in which reality, okay, let me break it down. Reality has always been subjective. Full stop. We just were living in a paradigm, in a season, in a narrative, in an illusion that had us believe that there was one reality. Okay. And now, thanks to, it's the dawn of the age of Aquarius. Now that we're in the Wild West, energetically and spiritually and mentally and emotionally, so to speak, thanks to Aquarian energy, um, we're very quickly having to come to terms with no, there are multiple realities occurring at the same time. And we can't control other people's realities. Now, they can't control our reality either, yet somehow we do still have to coexist and get along. How the hell are we supposed to do this? Welcome. This is reality. This has always been reality. This is the truest reality. The one in which there are millions, millions, and millions of reality coexisting in the same space and time. This is life. So it never has been about getting somebody else to see your point of view or one side conquering another. Hell, it's never even been about sides. How's that for a mind fuck? It's never been about sides. It's too big to be about sides. When you have something that's occurring in the millions to billions, What's aside? It's my birthday. It's been a brilliant day. And yes, I am enjoying this conversation. Kick back. I've got sparkling water, one of my herbal cigarettes here. So here's the thing. You're creating your reality. You're not creating my reality. I'm not creating your reality unless you are an architect. Okay? We're going to begin a conversation that may or may not lead in that direction. There, some of you, look, this is so on a need to know basis, spiritual security clearance, all that kind of stuff, right? But for real, for now, for the sake of this conversation, you just want to get that you're creating your own reality. You're not creating my own reality. You're creating your reality. That's what you're doing. That's also what everybody around you is doing. They're creating their reality. Okay. So, first of all, stop trying to force your will on other people. It's a waste of time. Use your will to construct the strongest version of a reality that you want to live in that you possibly can. Don't worry about anybody else. When we talk about staying in your lane, minding your business, playing your role, that's essentially what we're saying. Take your willpower, immense willpower, and use it to construct your reality according to your specifications. Don't worry about anybody else. That's number one. Okay. Number two, it's your reality. You're creating it. That means you're making the rules. If something doesn't work, change it. Okay. Number three, and I can't stress this enough. Do not, no matter what you do not. And I mean, I don't care how crappy you think your reality is. Do not ever look into someone else's reality and try to do what they are doing. Don't do that. It will never work. You cannot take someone else's like action stuff, whatever, copy paste it onto your reality and expect it to do anything but malfunction and crash and burn and take you with it. So don't do that, okay? Now, I'm going to put you onto game. When you're creating your reality, the first handful of time, like once you get that this is actually happening, because it's one thing for me to say, oh, you're creating your reality. It's very like, I don't know, y'all know. But when you get it, like when you really have that moment of like, holy fucking shit, I created that. God dang it. You know, honestly, the first handful of times, it's gonna be shitty. And that's not your fault, right? It's again, we were born into a paradigm that actually trained us to manifest what we don't want, right? So it takes a moment for us to catch on to what's how the world thing, how it actually works, And I really think that's what we're gonna begin to pull apart here is how things actually work. Whether it's time or space, dimensions. How do these things work, and how do they relate to your everyday life? this is really important because these are the conversations that matter. These are the conversations that make the difference in your quality of life. And yet these are the same exact conversations that you probably have not had before. Or if you've heard some of the words I'm using, you've thought to yourself, "Oh, I don't know what they're talking about. That's, that's beyond me," or, that sounds like, what, but no, this is actually what life is about. You were given literally a whitewashed and then dumbed down, extremely, extremely heavily edited and redacted version of life. And if you don't believe me, look at what's happening right now. So, yeah, that's not new. That's been happening for a while. It's like the world's worst game of telephone, right? Like the what actually had like the real about life is like, a million years back, and we just have a million years of telephone in between then and now. So I'm asking, like, what is your test for determining what's real and what's not real? How do you know? How do you know? And of course, whatever your answer is got to come from your reality, because what's real in my world might not be real in yours and vice versa. So again, I can't take your test for reality and apply it in my world. That will never work. That's that's a waste of time and energy. It won't work. Like I tell my clients, it's like trying to play baseball with a golf club. You can't do that. It won't work. Well, sure, they're both sports. And I mean, sure, if you go to a sporting goods store, you can get, baseball equipment and golf equipment, but that doesn't mean that you can play baseball with a golf club. That's silly. My goodness. Why would you even think that? Oh, because somebody said they're both sports. So, oh, they gave you just enough vague information to let you infer something that was incorrect and they didn't correct you. Oh, oh, okay. Yeah, well, it doesn't work. And again, if you don't believe me, look around the world. Doesn't work. Am I done? Step one, stop allowing anyone other than yourself to tell you what's real. Figure out for yourself how you determine what's real in your reality. It's going to require you to think. I'm not going to lie. You may or may not have ever done this before, and it might hurt your head. I'm not kidding. Listen, for everybody stop. Everybody, pop. I'm an Aries female. I'm aware that I sound like an arrogant asshole sometimes. It's a part of the territory. I would apologize, but so here's what I am going to say. It's not personal. It's just that in reality, very few people actually think. People have thoughts, and they think that having thoughts is the same as thinking. It is not. It is not. Thinking actually hurts your brain. It's like your brain is a muscle. Thinking exercises it. So you actually get sore. Like there's actually a little bit like you wake up the next if you think, come on, that's if you went to college, especially grad school, you remember you wake up the next day and you're like, oh my God. Like I just got hit by a Mack truck. Oh my God. But no, it's like your brain. It's like it's sore. You used it. Okay. But think about that. For a lot of you, it's been a while since you've had that experience. If you've ever had that experience, and that's what I'm talking about. You have thoughts. You're not thinking. There's a difference. Creating your reality is going to require you to think. You're going to have to be intentional. You're going to have to show up present in your life every fucking moment like you're meant to be there. That's what's required. No more and no less. I'm going to say this plainly. There is no other conversation to have at this juncture, species wide, other than what is your test for determining what is real and what is not? Hmm? You need to know this answer immediately. Many things that are not real will be paraded around with some things that are. How will you know the difference? And then there are those phenomena that supersede all realities and they just are, right? Like there's weather. We all have weather. We have shared phenomena right now. You with me? Rainbows, sunrises, sunsets. So we all live in our own reality, but we all actually share some phenomenon based on our environment, culture, right? These contexts. These are like keys to the kingdom if you can get them and play around with them. You can really, really design and then build your world. Now, this is separate from your programming. We've just talked about your programming, right? Where we talked about cultivating immunity in every area of life. We talked about manifesting, being intentional with your mouth, with your speaking, guarding your thoughts, what you allow in. That's really around your programming. Now we're speaking to, okay, you've got the program in place. What is the program going to do when you have that program run, when you execute the program? What happens? What's next? Well, ideally, what's next is you get to live the life of your dreams, Bob. I mean, like that's what you guys have showed up for, right? So, that requires you intentionally creating the life of your dreams. Now, here's what's interesting about creative energy. It is feminine energy. This is such a heavy conversation right now, but we're gonna lighten it up a little bit, and we're gonna come at it like a little bit at a time. So, this conversation is gonna have some threads in it, and we'll just pick them up as we go. Some of them will expand into bodies and be several episodes on their own. Others, we'll see what happens with them, right? But creative energy, and this is a really big conversation right now because this is sacral chakra energy. It is so closely linked to our sexual energy, and we are so in the middle of deconstructing um, the false reality that we were fed around sex and sexuality that we're just struggling. There's a real there's something happening in the creative industry right now. If you look around the world globally, like the creative arts, like something is going on. A lot of artists believe it's the beginning of the Renaissance, of the next Renaissance, and I don't doubt that, and I do believe in a large way it is, and I also feel like we're watching a reckoning happen in the arts community as well. Um, I think the way it's sitting for me is the intention of art is a pure expression, and somewhere along the way, the arts community got rid of the pure part and just went for the expression. Um, you know, it's fine. It's just not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So anyway, I feel like we're witnessing a reckoning happen just across the board, and the creative arts industry is no different. Whether we're talking about graphic design, visual art, photography, digital or otherwise, it doesn't matter. The healing arts, right? Eh, the arts world is so huge, from theater to comedy, it encompasses so much. But, I think if you look at it as a whole, there's something happening here. Yeah, there's a bit of a cleansing, a bit of a shakeup, but it's needed because again, art has always, I believe, existed to remind us of something more, of something else. When we've gotten too far away from source, there's something in that aria, in that painting, in that piece, in that movement, in yeah, right, that just brings you back to oof, yeah, kind of reconnects you. And the music industry alone is such a brilliant example of the devolution, like the dissolution of something that once was. But Berkana is out here, so it's being reborn, it's being remade, and it's coming back as something whole and better. And I love this. I love this, and I love that. I love that this is a divinely timed thing. Yeah. So we talk about women being this creative force to be reckoned with. I really want you to consider this is why women suffer the way they do around the world. Um, it's not but for what we represent, what's possible when we are free. If you can imagine having your creativity unleashed, I don't know if there's anything that humans are more afraid of. There's an innocence there that I think we are ashamed to face at this point because there's so much shadow work for us to do collectively that we haven't done. So I don't know that it's like, it would be like a return to Eden almost. And I don't know that we feel like we deserve it, but I don't think it's ever been about what we deserve. And that's something we will have to sit with and reckon with. Okay. But that's a sidebar. For now, just consider picking that apart. It's Women's History Month. Well, the end of it anyway, the month of March, right? But consider picking that apart. We are very. I'm a woman who's very vocal, such an advocate for women. And I am a woman who puts my money where my mouth is. Like that's how I roll. For better or for worse, I'm gonna practice what I preach. Just gonna do it. Hashtag Aries life. Um, but that's why. That's a part of what drives my commitment and my ability to stand so firm in my choices in this regard, and have this be a foundation of my reality. It's not just women's rights, but really advocating for women's because I believe in a world where creativity is unleashed, where there are no limits on what gets created, on what can be accomplished, on what's possible. There's just no limits. And, you know, for everything that can be created that benefits the greater good, there are people willing to manifest it into reality, like to support that feminine creative energy. We have the masculine energy there to manifest it. I believe in that world, and I live for it. So, um, it's like really, really crucial that you are protecting your sacral chakra energy, keeping your entire system aligned. And when I say system at this point, given what we've been talking about episode to episode, I really want you to know that I'm talking about your holistic system, right? Like your multidimensional self, all of you aligned, cleared out, ready to rock. There's two ways to keep yourself aligned and maintained so that you're constantly constructing a reality that's going to give you the results that you really are looking for. The first one, of course, is your thoughts, like we've been talking about for a few episodes now. Really monitoring the frequency of your thoughts. It's all frequency. I'm going to say it over and over and over again. It's quantum physics. I was talking to my 6-year-old about this today. He, he was asking me like why, why Captain Marvel had to do something on, repair or rip. I don't know. It's from a Marvel movie, right? And I said, that's a great question. And I explained like the quantum physics and the idea behind it. He's like, oh, okay. It made perfect sense then, right? But this is like that. Like, you know, 101, everything is frequency, which is energy just vibrating at a certain rate, okay? So, all things are vibrating at a certain frequency. You are, the chair you're sitting in is, wherever you're listening to this, the sound is a frequency. Whatever you're manifesting is a frequency. And you know the trick, right? To manifest what you want, vibrate at the same frequency. Duh, there it is. I mean, that's just how that works. Okay, well, how do I do that? The easiest way is master your thoughts. But mastering your thoughts is not easy, but it is the easiest way. It's just not easy, but it is the easiest way. Um, Another way that's extremely beneficial to mastering your thoughts, and if if you're someone who's listening to this and you're actually interested in constructing a reality that gives you a life you love, like you're like, okay, yeah, I can go for it. Let me see it. Yeah. Um, Mastering your thoughts is not hard. It just takes consistent, intentional work until it becomes ingrained. Okay. And then it just takes maintenance, which is the same as saying maintaining your integrity, right? But at that point, it's a habit. So as long as you honestly don't just do something egregious, you'll be able to do fairly well. You will want to challenge yourself frequently, right? Because that's the nature of integrity. Like it's gonna continue to like dissolve and devolve on its own. Um, but challenge yourself, right? Every 90 days, throw yourself a different challenge. Do something new. Like check, switch it up, switch it up, and you'll be good. All right. The second way, it's super supportive, um, is to really, really, really get hyper responsible for what you're putting in your body, what you're eating, what you're drinking. It's a really big deal. It's just a big deal. It's a big enough deal that any that if for any reason there were forces that did not want you to live your best life, they would probably alter the food that you were consuming. So, just consider that's just a sign of how important what you are ingesting is. Okay? It's a really big deal. It's a big deal. Um, I think if you took those two on, because those two would take a tremendous amount of your energy, uh, practicing mastering your thoughts to focus on what you do want rather than what you don't want. Well, automatically, it just kind of will lead you into practicing how you speak. You won't be able to avoid it. And then as you shift the way you speak, you naturally will notice the relationships in your life begin to shift based on how you speak. So this is going to promote a transitional period that will take however long it takes, depending on where you are, what your circle of influence looks like now, and what you're looking to manifest. Okay. Um, and so, in other words, these two simple things that I've said could give you years of actions to take. I mean, if you really took them on, and there's just two things. There's just two things. But understanding that the nature of humanity is to resist. And so even though, okay, well, be intentional about what you put in your body, that's very vague and very broad. Again, it could take you years to explore it. Where would you start? I don't know. How do you determine what's real or not based on your reality? What does your test look like? So for me, in my reality, I determine if something is real or not based on its relationship to me, because it's my reality. So in my reality, can I see it, touch it, feel it, taste it? Can I experience it in any way? And I'm not stuck to my five senses at all. I'm psychic. So I don't have to experience it with my five senses. I can experience it with anything. But is it experiential? Can I experience it? If I can experience it in my reality, it's real. And again, because I'm psychic, that's vast. I have room for crazy shit that you probably don't have room for in your world. My midheavens in Pisces, my imagination is just like that of a 5-year-old. I'm telling you. Plus, I'm in Aries hanging up. Oh my God, I still talk to trees. Aliens are real and I'm a fairy. What are you saying? I got a unicorn in my pocket. You mad? Listen, my reality is bold, gorgeous. It's a little Willy Wonka, it's a little Wonderland, but we have fun. Okay? What's your reality like? So in my reality, one of the first tests for whether something is real or not is, can I experience it or not? If I cannot experience it, it is not real for me. It is a concept. And I will tell people talking to me, they'll go like, oh, XYZ. And I'll go, no, I get that conceptually, but I don't get that. It's just not, it's not real for me. And I'm not going to lie and nod and agree and go, yeah, because I know I have no clue. What are you saying? That makes, what, huh? I can't even, what? And again, my world is bright and colorful. So if I don't get it, I need your help. Break it down for me. Invite me into your world. And that's the other thing. I'm okay going into your world because I know how to get back to mine. But that comes with years of practicing staying in my own god dang lane. And that's a whole word for somebody. See, some people are out here so intent on causing chaos and strife and fighting and fussing with people because they're terrified of their own reality that they've created. They don't want to deal with the reality they created. They want to come over there and bless you out about yours, which they know nothing about, quite honestly. When in reality, all that needs to happen is they need to go switch up the rules that they engage in their reality or deconstruct it and create a new one. It's their reality. No one else is going to do it for them. Thoughts become things. Now, as sure as night follows day, if you're eating crappy food, it's going to help you to have crappy thoughts. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and explain that science to you. That's biological science, all right? We don't know it from quantum physics, but you just got to know. There's a direct connection to the microbiome in your gut and the functionality of your brain. You just got to know that. You got to know that. And since we're talking about creating using your thoughts, which your brain is an instrument, ABC. Okay? So these two are essential. They're not avoidable. They're not optional when you talk about manifesting. If you're someone who's I want to be a master manifester, I want to think it and will it into existence, and you're serious about it, this is it. Mastering your thoughts, intentionally fueling your body in such a way that you're able to maintain the frequency of that which you desire to manifest. To keep it simple, I, I, that, we, I'm gonna change the names to protect the innocent. Okay, so years ago, and I do mean years ago, but that's all I'm gonna say because I'm protecting the innocent. Well, they ain't innocent, but anyway, I'm protect this person. But so this person I knew was a single female, and she met a man that she found very attractive. And she found him so attractive that she, for herself, she was in love at first sight. And she was very excited, told her close friends about him. And then, within a couple of days, she was telling her close friends that she felt very, very strongly that this was her person. It was her person. And she had had a dream, and she felt that she was being guided by her spiritual team to pursue this man. Now, my personal feeling, y'all, is that women do not pursue men. I know, and I'm an Aries, and I've done it, and I don't believe it's the way to go. I do not believe women should pursue men, and that's coming from a woman who has pursued men. I don't think so. I don't recommend it. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about it. I don't recommend it. I made that mistake for us. Don't do that. Um, but she did, and so the man was really great with her, but he told her that he did not want her. He did not find her attractive in the same way that she found him attractive. Now she had her feelings hurt, and she's like, oh, okay, whatever. But she had her feelings hurt. But anyway, she regrouped, came back to herself, and said to herself, he's just in denial. This is your person. Spirit told you this. You just got to hold on, right? And listen, there's stories about this, right? So that's fine. Actually, that's fine. Here's the thing. The man, it was very into bodybuilding, like what we would call a specimen of a man. Do you know what I'm saying? An extremely attractive man. Hell, I might have been attracted to him. You know what I'm saying? Very looking guy. The female was not attractive or physically fit. In fact, quite the opposite. So, for the people that she's sharing with on the outside looking in for her friend group, we were our experience was okay, well, if you want to be with a man who's bodybuilding and in the gym, you know, 4 or 5 days a week, you gotta get in a gym 4 or 5 days a week. You gotta match that energy. You gotta match what you want, right? But that was not the way she chose to go. All right. She is someone who chose to, go another route, what I would consider, a route that I wouldn't have taken. Anyway, no, it did not work out for her. She did not get the man in the end. That's how that story ends. But the moral of the story is, if you know you want something and you're clear about what you want, match your energy to it, match your frequency to it, match your frequency to it. See, I see people, I've seen this before, and it's really interesting. Someone will be like, not where they, not where they want to be in life. Like maybe they don't, maybe, okay, so maybe you don't live in the neighborhood you want to live in right now. I'm from Atlanta, neighborhoods, zip codes, Atlanta life, y'all. So maybe you want to live over here in this neighborhood, this zip code, but you're over here for now because that's what you can afford. Atlanta's expensive. Um, Regardless of where you live, you still have an opportunity to conduct yourself and maintain your home and personal life experiences and standards to the same degree you would if you did live in the neighborhood you wanted to. Do you understand what I'm saying? You might not live in Country Club of the South and drive a Mercedes, right? You might be in downtown Norcross, um, driving your Toyota RAV4, but it's really okay. You can still hold yourself to standards as if you did live in Country Club of the South. You don't have to live in a big house to treat yourself well. You don't have to live in a mansion to respect yourself. You don't have to live in a gated community to keep your home clean. You don't have to live in a golf community to maintain your yard. You can do this wherever you are. And it's kind of like that, right? There's the saying of, dress for the job you want rather than the job you have. That's the idea. But applying it to every area of your life. Once you know what you want in that area of your life, then just act like it. Act like it. If you want a great spouse, then act like then be a great spouse. Become someone who's a great spouse. Become considerate, thoughtful, someone who has space to allow someone else into their day, into their life. Someone who's willing to put down what they're doing to listen to a partner. Someone who's not so focused on what their priorities are that they don't have time for someone they love. That's how you manifest a great partner. Take the actions required to match your frequency of that which you desire. Start with your thoughts, followed up by intentionally fueling your body in such a way that these thoughts are supported. Okay, we're going to be getting into some quantum work. I feel like you guys know my books are open. Speaking of quantum, I do offer quantum healings. Literally, for those of you who are dealing with something that's been there for a while and you're ready to have it gone, go to my website, book a consultation. Let's get rid of it. Um, this I'm going to end this particular conversation here because there's so many different ways we could go with it, but I feel like we opened up a lot here. Do feel like there's a lot of threads here. We are going to get around to timelines. We are going to have to touch back on time throughout the year, this particular year, 2025, and that's fine. Um, but that's what this year is for a lot of you. It is a choice point. And yeah, more than one of these conversations are going to be helpful for you to kind of navigate your way through your own um, challenges as you determine what's real. You're going to, again, there's a lot of things that are not real that are going to be thrown in your face. You want to begin to get really facile in knowing what's real and what's not based on your reality. All right, lovelies. Thank you so much as always. I always have so much fun hanging out with you on the Sacred Profane podcast. Until next time, trust your process, your path, and your purpose. Peace.